Hello, I'm Austin Orr, and I'm in Environmental Ethics Philosophy 345, where for the past 12 weeks I decided on 2 days out of every week I would not eat chicken in my diet. So the importance of this project is to show how meat production and poultry takes a toll on the environment. Not just the environment in America, but the environment around the world. The atmosphere covers the entire world, and CO2 emissions make the atmosphere thick, not allowing light rays to reflect from the Earth out into space, better known as the greenhouse effect, where the light rays get trapped in from the thickness of the atmosphere and climate change is inevitable, meaning ecosystems being affected, such as the food web having a ripple effect. Take, for example, with polar bears and the decline in sea ice in the Arctic lands. Decline in sea ice results in the decline in ice algae, which are eaten by zooplankton, which then are eaten by Arctic cod. Declining in the food source for Arctic cod results in declines of seals because seals eat these cod and polar bears eat the seals. Thus, you have an implication already with the global warming that has already occurred, and I wouldn't want to see the ripple effect happen to any ecosystems, particularly the human ecosystem. I have done some research on just how environment friendly it is to cut meat out for 2 days a week. As you can see on the furthest right side of my data, I have starting 14.8 ounces saved, which is the average ounces of chicken I saved by not eating chicken on the 2 days of that week. The list proceeds for 12 rows, which indicates 12 weeks of average ounces of chicken I saved. The sum total of average ounces of chicken I saved came out to be 204.96 ounces of chicken. With this number of average saved chicken, I conducted my data based on average numbers. From 204.96 ounces of chicken, I converted this into pounds, which was 12.79 pounds of chicken I saved on average, and then converted these pounds into kilograms by multiplying 0.453 and 12.79, since there are 0.453 kilograms in every pound. And I have 5.8 kilograms of chicken that I saved on average. I researched how much carbon dioxide is actually emitted into the atmosphere for people who consume chicken. Based off of EWG.org, I found that 6.9 kilograms of carbon dioxide is emitted for every kilogram of chicken that is consumed. Well, in my study, I saved on average 5.8 kilograms of chicken within the 12-week period. Then I multiplied 6.9 by the 5.8 kilograms of chicken I saved, which came out to be 40.02 kilograms, and that 40.02 of kilograms is actually kilograms of carbon dioxide emitted into the atmosphere that I saved just by myself. Reducing the carbon dioxide output will allow for global warming to be slowed down, because global warming is the effect of carbon dioxide buildup, which allows for a thicker atmosphere. In effect, carbon dioxide lets the light energy in, but doesn't let all of the heat energy out, meaning climate change, because the carbon dioxide doesn't absorb the energy from the sun. Also, for about every 1,000 chickens, there was about 80 pounds of chicken poo. So that means each chicken produces about 0.08 pounds of poo a day. And I saved about 34.16 chickens, because I would have eaten about 34.16 chicken breasts. And since each chicken has only one breast, then technically I saved on average about 2.732 pounds of chicken poo, because I multiplied 0.08 pounds of chicken poo a day by 34.16 chickens that I saved, resulting in 2.732 pounds of chicken poo total savings, which 2.732 pounds of chicken poo saved, I saved about, according to nrcs.usda.gov WPS portal, about 0.037 pounds of nitrogen and about 0.0116 pounds of phosphorus being put into our soil. So phosphorus and nitrogen are pretty good nutrients, but when there's too much in the groundwater, then large growth of algae called algal blooms can reduce or eliminate oxygen in the water, which leads to illness in fish and produce toxins to humans. Groundwater is what millions of people use as their drinking water source, so reducing nitrogen and phosphorus, I help slow down this process. Also, since I saved about 204.96 ounces of chicken by not eating chicken for 2 days over the 12-week period, it came out to be 56.28 kilowatt hours of energy I saved. I got this number because according to EIA EIA.gov/tools, it takes 4.4 kilowatt hours of energy to produce 1 pound of chicken. I multiply 4.4 kilowatt hours by 12.79 pounds of chicken, which results in 56.28 kilowatt hours saved on average. With 56.28 kilowatt hours saved, I found out also from EIA.gov that it takes 1.05 pounds of coal to produce 1 kilowatt hour, and when you multiply 56.28 kilowatt hours, I came up with 59 pounds of coal I saved. Saving 59 pounds of coal results in the saving of fossil fuels, meaning a more clean environment. So according to nutrientworld.com, about 8 to 9 pounds of feed is fed per bird for broiler chicks. And over the 12-week period, I saved about 34 chickens because I saved 34 chicken breasts. So when you multiply 8 to 9 pounds, you come out with 273 to 307 pounds of feed that I saved. And approximately 70% of chickens in the United States are fed arsenic in their feed. Thus, I saved the chance of me having more milligrams of arsenic in my body. After calculating with all this data, I just want to show you the importance on the environmental impact you could have just by not eating chicken for 2 days out of every week over a 12-week period. I cut down on the carbon footprint, I saved coal, and I made it better for my health by not absorbing too many milligrams of arsenic just by not eating chicken. The implication of this data, you can see that in Anderson you have a movement of building a greener city, and then you have Clemson trying to build a greener campus with buying electric buses in the Anderson and Clemson area. I believe I helped Clemson in trying to achieve a greener campus since I saved about 59 pounds of coal being used. This data can be related to the world because of the nitrogen and the phosphorus I saved from being put into the ground that may contaminate the drinking water for the society the chickens were produced in. Recommendations I have is one in society, which I believe that as a human being it is our duty to preserve the society for future societies to come. I understand that some people cannot cut meat out of their diet once a day, but with all the benefiting effects it has on society, I believe that you might as well just try at least to cut down on the greenhouse effect. Ethically, it is doing a good thing because you're saving the lives of chickens who are being forced to be mass produced. Deciding to be absent from chicken on 1 day or 2, you're not hurting anyone and having positive effects on the environment at the same time and the society. The practicality of this is that it is very achievable because there are other sources of protein you can get from plants such as edamame and soy meat. Just because you dispose of meat on a day or 2 does not mean you cannot survive. But economically, not eating meat by everyone would have a toll on the economy. So this is the negative effect by not eating meat. But the only reason is because it is estimated that 1.4% of the world's total GDP comes from livestock production, meaning there is 1.3 billion jobs created by livestock production in the world. Maybe that would be a good thing, since it seems all people know how to do is make money nowadays, and will have to learn how to actually raise their own meat for consumption. I believe my project relates to Barry's social ecology because Barry points out the problems we have today as exploiters and nurturers. And we as a society have been deprived of any independent assets such as clothing, shelter, and food. Meaning all these items can be got from somewhere other than themselves. Meaning specialization has occurred, such as Tyson specializing in chicken. You can go to a store and buy Tyson who specialize in frozen chicken and they mass produce them. The problem with specialization is that they are not desires, and it makes us like a machine. Making us like a machine as to we only know how to do one thing. Tyson on one hand is to make chicken. So specialization creates multiple things to be desired, and then we lose track of what is actually desirable. It produces larger problems because it scatters character, and we are no longer concerned with production. Tyson is no longer concerned with how they produce the chicken as long as they get the chicken. We are only concerned with how to make money now, and relying on companies to produce chicken so we can buy it from fast food restaurants and grocery stores like Bilo. We have an economy based on anxiety, fantasy, luxury, and idle wishing because destroying character and not being concerned with production makes it seem we only know how to make money, and since we do not have control over the dollar, then food could possibly be used as a weapon. Or I believe my project definitely correlates to this theory because all my data savings show how the production of poultry affects the environment, and the production of poultry affects the environment due to how much needs to be produced, since our society relies on restaurants and supermarkets to have meat available to buy. believe Norton has a theory that is more strongly correlated to my project. It is Norton's anthropocentricism. Norton's weak anthropocentricism represents a nice middle ground between strong anthropocentrism and Leopold's land ethics. To arrive at his theory, Norton took into account considered preferences versus felt preferences. A felt preference is a decision that is made with no basis on a common worldview. Felt preferences can only be made with the individual in mind. A strong anthropocentrist would promote exploration of resources because they have objects in mind that only have value if they're valuable to humans. Being able to go to the local bilo is valuable in the sense that it is convenient, and producing chickens is valuable in the sense to the factory owner because they make monetary gains by selling so much chicken to consumers. Weak anthropocentrism, on the other hand, points out nature can be used to understand and define human preferences and should be used in a responsible manner. The environmental ethic produced by weak anthropocentrism is between distribution and allocation. Distribution in the sense of producing chickens relates to my project data on chicken poo putting too many nutrients in our ground, eventually contaminating our soil and groundwater. Distribution relates because it takes into account that one should not harm others unjustifiably. Just because monetary gains are nice doesn't mean we should affect others. Allocation considers future generations and relates to my project because of the amount of coal I saved and the carbon dioxide emissions I saved. If more people steered away from eating meat, they would save natural resources like I did and CO2 emissions to maintain a steady flow of resources for us and future generations. We as humans, to Norton, do not have an obligation to the future generations, but we do have the integrity of the environment so that it can help sustain them in the future. We do not have to save all the resources, but we at least need to leave the future generations something. Norton's anthropocentrism theory may require all of us to adopt my practice, which I believe is the strongest theory that pertains to my data